What is going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a good, whatever day it is today, Monday. Good to see you, K9. Good to see you, Scott. Please hit the like button. Remember, 25% off for new users for the first month using promo code BobbyFiNBA, etc. So we're going to try and figure out how to make sense of this slate. I think that we need to wait on stuff still. The probably the most important stuff is Boston. If we do get Porzingis out, if we do get we have what's his name out, we have Derek White out already. If we do get Porzingis out, it's going to open up a lot for Horford. There's not that many bigs there. It might even open up Sam Hauser as a play. It sounds weird, but I mean, we'll be talking about guys like Luke Cornett even possibly because they're just extreme values. Also, Tatum, Brown, both become better and better plays along with Holiday, but I would lean Jaylen Brown as my favorite. But I kind of like the idea of maybe playing a little Tatum here. Tough game on the road. I think this is a spot where you might see Tatum have a big night. The problem is there's a lot of good spend ups tonight, so that's a big piece that we're waiting on. It looks like as of right now, everyone's going to play for San Antonio. This is a different San Antonio thing that we've seen in past seasons. So Keldon Johnson now probable. Let's see. So really, we only don't have Vassell, and they've got a very deep roster on a back-to-back. Are they going to play Wemby that many minutes after an overtime game? I don't think so, but probably worth gambling on. Probably worth gambling on Trey Jones. Probably worth gambling a little bit on Malachi Branham. That guy has upside. Anyway, so there's some pieces that we thought we were going to have earlier in the day, maybe, but we don't have right now. So let's go. Guys who I am going to spend up for tonight, I will buy. I'm a sucker for narratives when I think they matter. I think that going back to Oklahoma matters to Trae Young. And I think the game environment is already awesome. He's 9,300. I think you play I have Halliburton as my priority, but Trae is right there. And I love the idea of trying to get to lineups with both of them. Really, really like Trae Young tonight. Like some DeJounte Murray as well. Pretty much like the whole Atlanta side. It's harder to get to pieces on the other side. So if you can find the way to do it, I think that a Halliburton, Trae Young, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander lineup will be unbelievably low owned. And if we can find the value and a way to do it, it's probably worth getting there. So that's a game I like a lot. I like the San Antonio Indy game because the pace. Mostly I like Halliburton, Turner. Not getting so much, a little bit of Bruce Brown, but that's the main guys for Indy for me on San Antonio's side. Zach Collins, like I said, Malachi Branham. I will mess with a little bit of Trey Jones, a little bit of Wembanyama, a little bit of Sohan, a little bit of Keldon Johnson, although I'm kind of lower on that just because he played 38 minutes yesterday. But it's really hard to know with the Spurs. At the same time, they are playing to win this year. They've made that seem pretty clear so far. And for good reason. They're a capable team. So those are the games that sort of stood out to me. I did like I like on FanDuel getting to the New Orleans Denver game stack. I think that makes a lot of sense. I actually, in my first builds on FanDuel, that was like my favorite stack, getting Jokic, Zion, Dyson Daniels, etc. But with no McCollum, I should have mentioned this one earlier, but Dyson Daniels none of these guys stand out as like amazing plays, but Dyson Daniels, Kira Lewis, Jordan Hawkins, all those guys I would be mixing in if I was in multi-entry. And I'd also have some Ingram and some Zion. Zion will be very, very low owned because the power forward position has some value. So the other guys, Goga Batadze is, look, if he's going to be 50% owned, I probably am going to be with the field. I just think they're going to let him go a little bit. The problem is the matchup. Dallas can play small, but they're not doing it as much with Livers in there. So I think that Batadze, I'm just going to stick with the play and have a good portion of it. I will be overweight also Anthony Black, although I don't feel great about it. So I'm mixing in some Jalen Suggs. I want to get some exposure, and I like getting to the spend ups in Orlando. I like getting to a little bit of the Paolo and a little bit of Franz Wagner. I think that's an interesting way to go. I also really like the Atlanta OKC. I'm sorry, I already mentioned the Atlanta OKC game. The Sacramento Houston game, it's one of the games I have the over on. I think that they're not going to keep playing so slow in Houston. I think Sacramento will speed them up. Love Malik Monk. as a tournament play. I also have a little bit of interest, even though I'm sort of questioning myself why. I just still believe that Duarte can play in the NBA, but really it's probably a little too thin. So mostly it's Monk for me for Sacramento, but it's relevant because I like some pieces in Houston. Jabari Smith, Şengün, Dylan Brooks, Van Vliet, and Jalen Green are all on my list. So I definitely want to get some exposure to that as a game stack. Maybe play some Monk, and I think you could play a little bit of Duarte. I still think there's upside there. I know it's 3,700. I know he's going to be on own. I know he's not projecting well, but I do think that it's a more reasonable play to just gamble on, that maybe it works. And again, I hope it's just a placeholder for me until we get some other later news. But Duarte did just play 26 minutes against this team, put up 19 fantasy points. There is upside for him still. I think without Monk, without Fox, I think it's going to be hot hand stuff. And if he's hot, it'll go that way. All right, so drop in questions and thoughts. And I love this question that Jo asked. How do I feel about Marcus Sasser? I love that play. So I have 3 big buy-ins on DraftKings tonight, and Sasser's in one of them, and he's in some of my other lineups as well. I think that this is something you want to keep an eye on. I think it's volatile, but I'm willing to embrace the volatility. But I think playing one of Sasser or Hayes is a good idea as a way of spending down. The problem is you might be missing out on value that opens up later on. That's the only issue I have with it. But I do like the idea of it, getting to Sasser some and getting to Hayes some in tournaments. But so I like that question. I think Sasser is pretty sharp, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm not like totally sold on it. I'm still trying to think if I can find something that's a little bit better, but I do like Sasser. I think Sasser is like very similar of a play to Anthony Black in a very different way. Sasser can do more per minute, probably, given this current situation. Black probably guaranteed more minutes, but wouldn't you play the upside guy in that spot? And I'm not saying Black definitely has enough upside, but it is interesting that he's going to come in so low owned compared to Black, I think. Well, yeah, I think he's going to be like unowned, and Black will be like 15%, maybe a little higher. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. Tricky to differentiate tonight. Yeah. Oh, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate the kind words. What's my thoughts on Banchero and the Magic? Oh, I answered that one, but I'll go back to it, TJ, because it's a good question. I really like the idea of, look, there's a lot of teams that have a lot of good spots. It's 12 games, and the Magic are all going to be owned, and for good reason. I would be overweight basically all of them if I was multi-entering. And the one I wouldn't maybe be is Joe Ingles. I'm probably going to have to take a little bit of a deeper look and get a little bit of that action because it is 3,200 and we're looking for value. The problem is, again, you might be missing out on later value tonight. Really sad for Robert Williams III, out forever. Okay, so the other thing that's interesting to touch on tonight is the low ownership because of the perceived lack of value and actual lack of value, I guess. And I think that Jokic is going to be the most popular of the spend all the way up guys. I'm not going to say that everybody should do this. I'm going to play some Giannis. I'm going to play I have some Jokic on FanDuel. I have Jokic more on FanDuel. I will play some Giannis. I will play some Shea. And I'm going to play the Tyrese and Trae Young together quite a bit. Because I think people are going to play Tyrese. I don't think they're going to play Trae Young. Thoughts on Asar? It's fine. I think that, like, to me, it looks like a reachy play on this kind of slate. I'm not sure. I love the kid in general, but 6,600, is he a better play than Duren? I don't know. It's really close. I think I'm probably just on the outside looking in that situation. But he did initially pop for me a little bit. I just didn't end up with much of them. Good questions, though, Jo. Reggie Jackson on FanDuel. Appreciate the question, K9. Yes, I'm Reggie Jackson on FanDuel. I like the idea of you can spend down on he and Dyson Daniels, get a nice cheap backcourt, allows you to play Jokic and Zion. And then, you can get the middle guys that I mentioned, like the Levines and the Wagners, and the Bruce Brown is a reasonable play over there, Zach Collins. I'm going to have to find a way to get Andrew Wiggins out of my lineups. It's just, he's been so bad, but it's so hard at 5K to just ignore him. The problem is it's not like you're getting him at low ownership either. So it's kind of frustrating. I don't know. Is Wemby worth the spend up? No, the answer to that question in general, most of the time is going to be no here. The also answer to the question is that there are slates where like you could argue that he should be 10K. Like he's not going to get all the minutes for it, but this guy the ceiling is through the roof. And if a game goes a certain direction, I could see Wembanyama going completely berserk. And I definitely always want to be overweight on it. The good news is for me tonight, that only means I have to play 10% to be overweight. So that's what I'll do for tonight, probably. Do I like Smith or Johnson at power forward? Both. That's my answer to that question. Very straightforward. Where I am playing Jabari Smith, I'm mostly playing Jalen Johnson also. That's a very simple thing. It's in my forward utility spot. That's what I'm doing with a good portion of my forward utility spots. I prefer, because I believe that Jabari will be lower owned, I think I would say Jabari just because of the lower ownership. In actuality, I think that I prefer Jalen Johnson, as he's going to get to the median score more often. Yeah, but Jabari's got more ceiling. So I would say that's the way I would look at it. Yeah, interesting. Oh, James, man, I was wondering about it. Like, if he hits on a 12 gamer, it's not really going to burn me but it's going to burn me to not have him. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of, will it happen in Philly? I mean, it reminds me, maybe he'll do what I think I did win the big tournament that night. It was that Bradley Beal scored 61 real life points in Philly, and I had Beal and Embiid, and Bradley Beal, I think, was 0.5% owned, and he had the most fantasy points on the slate, and Embiid had the second most fantasy points on the slate, and he was like 2% owned. It was a really fun one to have. It was just like just praying your players don't get injured the rest of the night, because you already got like, what are they like combined for like 170 or something. Maybe it was even higher. And I'm just like, okay, just give me my 20s, guys. Give me my 20s and 30s and we'll be good. But yeah, maybe tonight is the night. I had that gut feeling too, but I just don't think that it's worth it for me to go. I mean, I just mentioned so many good plays. It's hard to narrow pools down today. Yeah. So anyway, I think what you can do is you can play the good plays, and you can take the fringier ones on the other side. Right now, Joe Ingles is projecting to be the third highest owned player on the slate. That's insanity. I don't know what am I missing here. And I like Joe Ingles. I really like him as a player. It feels kind of crazy in the first game of the night. Now, if you were using him as a placeholder for a later game, sure. He could play 30 minutes and put up like 15 fantasy points, or 12. He could play 20 minutes and put up like 0. Like, I mean, it's really possible. It feels a little fringy to me. Yeah, I don't know if I can go with him being that high owned, but it is 3,200. There isn't a ton of value. If you want to spend up for the guys, he is a guy who can help you get there. But I think I would rather wait on stuff and like play Al Horford in Boston. If that it's cheap, but it's an awesome value play.
What kind of businesses are you looking for?
What is going on, Siri? Would I take a chance on Cole Anthony? Absolutely. I think all the Magic guards are firmly in play, and I think that I would rank it. I probably like Suggs better than Black, and then I would have Cole Anthony ranked third. But it's a good matchup for him. This could be one of those where he really catches fire. Still more of a priority for me to play Paolo and Franz, I guess, in that game. Yeah, the Kristaps being questionable is a big piece with Derek White already out for Boston. Boston's out there trying to win games. They're playing it's a tough to win in Minnesota in general. I think that you got to look pretty heavily at Boston. Basically, every starter. Let's see, who would you have in Boston? I think Horford already is a good play, so you just plug it, you put him in. If Porzingis is out, he's going to be a great play. But I think Sam Hauser and Luke Cornett, as crazy as this sounds, may end up being better plays by a lot than Joe Ingles. So I would rather take chances on those guys. I mean, they're going to be down two big bodies who play a lot of minutes. It's a big deal. Hayes okay on DK? Yes. Yes is the answer to that one. Killian Hayes is definitely okay on DK. With Milwaukee, I think Cam Thomas, look, there's just a lot of good plays. There's 20 games, you know what I mean? Not 20 games, there's 24 teams. it's really hard to just say this is the right thing and this is the wrong thing and all that. I don't know. Miles Turner, did somebody just get ruled out? Because his projection just shot up for me and he was already good. I need to make sure I get a little bit more of him. Did you say I haven't talked about Halliburton? I mentioned that Halliburton's the best play on the slate, that he's the guy I have the most of. I don't know what else I can tell you. I could play Halliburton with Trae Young. This is exactly what I said. I don't know how else I could say it. I talked a lot about Halliburton. And I think he's the most obvious play on the slate, period. Yeah. He's my highest owned player right now. I have my bets up. My bets are in the premium. And for those of you guys who want to join, this is an awesome bet tracking app that's made me so much better of a bettor. It's why I focus so much so much of my research is done based on overs and unders and stuff like that. That's why I've done so well with those. But there's a Discord to better takes. Also, you should get in on that one. It's a great bet tracking app. It really takes all your historical bets and tells you what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong, and goes down and breaks it by everything. It's really, really awesome, and it's free right now. So I suggest you guys get over there and download it ASAP. It's in the App Store. BETTOR takes. Both AD and LeBron are on the outside looking in, but it doesn't mean I don't like them. There's just too many good plays tonight. It's just as simple as that. If I had to pick one, I think I would pick LeBron. But I'm not gonna pick one. I don't think. I think I like the Trae Young, Halliburton, potentially a little bit of a little Giannis, a little bit of Shea. That's sort of where I'm at, I guess, overall. All right. Any other questions before we get out of here? I was plenty of people in the chat. Great to see you all. Please hit the like button. We do appreciate it. It allows us to keep doing these videos for free. So we want to keep doing that and not just make it for premium members, but we will do so if we don't get enough of those likes. So give us some likes. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, all right. What else do we have to go over? I think that we're kind of I'm kind of wrapped up on what I want to do, except for we just need more news and information. But I'm probably going to get out of here unless there's anything. No problem to Jo. Happy to be here for all you guys. Jalen Smith, was he ruled out? I'm going to double check that, because that is what would make Miles Turner look even better. Let's just take a look. I didn't get the news. Let me just make it. Jalen Smith. All right. I don't have any news on him, so we'll see. Either way, I think Miles Turner is a good play anyway. It's not going to change my opinion in a drastic way. It just might make him a little more chalky, and we don't usually like to play him when he's chalky. No problem, K9. Zach Collins is still a priority. He's not a core play for me anymore, but he is a guy I would like to get exposure to. More of a priority on FanDuel, where he's 6,600, than he at power forward, and you can play him with Jokic or Embiid or whoever big spend up you want. Dyson over Kira for me, yes. I think Kira is a really interesting large field tournament play. But I would probably lean Dyson, although I would like to get a starting lineup for sure, because they will sometimes mix it around in Portland and New Orleans. They've done that in the past. But as of right now, I'm going to assume that it's Daniels starting. We'll see. We don't know for sure. But yeah, it would be if Kira Lewis starts, you can just make the easy swap over. But either way, I still like Daniels whether he starts or not. Thanks, MJ. It would have been nice to get that big 250K, but I wasn't going to win that, but I thought I was going to come in second. I thought I had a chance to come in second. I needed the touchdown for Lamb, and I just needed a little bit more from Saquon. I just couldn't get that spend right. I needed the Cleveland defense and any of the other running backs instead of Saquon, and I win all the money. Would have been nice. Dyson or Black if Dyson is starting. I think I prefer Dyson Daniels. Well, I think Black is safer for the minutes. I think Dyson Daniels probably has more upside, but we won't know if Dyson's starting until 2 hours after the Black game. So it's really hard it doesn't really matter. We're playing Batatse mostly to answer that question from Wiggy. There was one more thing. How many players do I play per team on DK? Oh, that's just an impossible question to answer, Clay. It's totally different depending on days. It's like how many guys do you stack with your quarterback? Well, I had single stacks yesterday, and I had stacks where I had 4 Houston receivers with what's his name? quarterback, CJ Stroud. Yeah. Pritchard busted last game. I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't even know if Pritchard's like he's coming off the bench. It's not like he's guaranteed, but he's got upside. Sure. Peyton Pritchard is another one that you can take shots on. Look, there's a lot of guys who are going to have room to play later tonight if we do get that Kristaps out later on. All right. Good luck to everybody tonight, and I'll be in the premium Discord if anybody needs anything. Good luck.